About the time I thought Gurriel was slowing down. He's 2 for 4 yesterday with a homer. Now has 18 home runs on the year. He's hitting .292. Brantley, I mentioned earlier, went 3 for 3 yesterday with a walk, 2 home runs, and 3 RBIs. The thing about Brantley, again, the weather's getting warm. He had a stretch where he had homered just twice in 51 games, and now he's gone yard 3 times in the last 4. He's 32 years old, and this is probably Michael Brantley's best season he's had. He's had career highs in average. He's at .332, on base percentage at .391, and slugging at .530. He's got 15 home runs on the year so far, and he has scored 55 runs and driven in the same number, 55. Over the weekend against Texas, he was 6 for 7 in those contests. Tyler O'Neill. Yeah, let's hear it for Tyler O'Neill. I mean, the Cardinals, he's moved up on the pecking order in St. Louis. He's ahead of Martinez in the outfield. He went 1 for 4 yesterday with a stolen base. Saturday, he had a hitless game, but out of the last 10 games, he's had hits in 9. He was recalled on June 29th. He went 1 for 8 over his first 2 games back. But since then, he's hit over .350 with 7 extra base hits, 3 doubles, 4 homers, 11 RBIs. Is he available in any league? It appears he has won playing time in St. Louis. Just saying, trade deadlines mean some veterans may be traded in St. Louis. They may just let O'Neill continue to play it away. And so far, he's done a great job. I tell you, another player, if I'm looking a power-hitting outfielder or a DH, Jorge Soler for Kansas City. Have you looked at his numbers? .251 average. Okay, not so great. But 27 home runs, 70 RBIs on Kansas City. Are you kidding me? 3 for 3 yesterday at Cleveland. And remember the All-Star game at Cleveland? And remember the Home Run Derby at Cleveland? And remember Alex Bregman hitting balls that announcers were saying, well, that ball from that right-handed batter, Jorge Soler's right-handed too, would have been out in Houston, but it's just a fly ball in Cleveland. But Soler went yard in Cleveland yesterday. Cleveland, you need some outfielders. Soler, you can hit. Sounds like a match to me. 27 homers for Jorge Soler. Finally, the player that we thought he could be. And pre-draft, talked about between Phil Chaplin and myself, was the need to draft Jorge Soler. Next year, guys, before you draft, listen in, okay? Now that we're into the season, I'm saying to you, if he's in a league where you can trade for him, he could be had possibly on the cheap. Yu Darvish. How many of you have cut Yu Darvish this year? And are you aware of what Darvish has done since the All-Star break? Darvish must have done some homework over the All-Star break. He must have tinkered with his delivery or something, because he's had 2 starts since the All-Star break. He pitches tomorrow. Where? At San Francisco. Is there a better ballpark to pitch at in the world that you know of than San Francisco's Oracle Park? I'm not aware of one. Let me in on it if there is. So Darvish pitches tomorrow in the best pitcher's park. And since the All-Star break, he's allowed no runs and 4 hits in 12 innings. Striking out 7 on the 17th of July against the Reds. Striking out 8 against the Pirates on the 12th of July. So in 12 innings, 15 strikeouts. Darvish, owned in 75% of ESPN leagues. Oh, I like what he's doing for the Cubs. I really like what he's doing for the Cubs. Now I'm going to talk about a player that was hot early and has really cooled off. Austin Riley. He didn't even start yesterday. He was off to this incredible start, hitting home runs. But pitchers got the book, and they've read it well, and they've memorized it. And there may even be a how-to section in that book, because the bottom line is, throw Austin Riley a slider off the plate, and he'll swing at it and miss it. And he's not made the adjustment yet. He was not in the lineup yesterday. He's been on the bench in 2 of the team's last 4 games. Ender Inciarte is back. He's hit 170 in 58 July plate appearances. 170 will not cut it for a potential run at the World Series for the Braves. I'm looking for Inciarte to move back to center field, for Riley to be a bench player. And so if you are a Riley owner and there's a Brave fan in your league and you can trade him now, do it. The ship may have sailed, but if it hasn't, trade him now if you can. A player I've really been looking at lately also, Lenny has mentioned him a few times. I've mentioned him a few times. Ahmed Rosario for the Mets. He homered yesterday. He's hitting .274 on the year. He's got 11 bombs, 46 RBIs, 11 stolen bases. After this weekend, he's hitting over 400 in July. Over 400 in July. Ahmed Rosario, again, if you can own him, could be a great pickup. One more player to watch for, particularly this week, and it's a Tampa Bay Ray, and it's because they're facing 3 Red Sox left-handers in a row at home, Avisail Garcia. A couple of reasons. First of all, if you've done your homework, you know this, Kiermaier was injured yesterday, and Garcia was moved over to center field. So he had job security against left-handers before. Now he probably has job security against all-handers. He's hitting .326 for the month of July. Now, he homered on Saturday. That was his first homer since June 29th. But on the year, he does have 13 bombs, a .281 average, 46 RBIs, and 9 steals. Did you hear that? 9 steals from Avisail Garcia. So, again, a player I really like this week, and I've liked him all year. So going forward, I'm looking for that. Now, George is in the chat room talking about the Giants. Mike Yastrzemski. Let's talk about that for just a moment. Thank you, George. Everybody had written the Giants off. I told you they're only 2.5 games out of the wild card as we sit here this morning. And they may be doing it with smoke and mirrors, but I don't really care what you call it. They're winning. Yastrzemski went 1 for 4 yesterday. He homered. He went 1 for 4 on Saturday. He homered. Didn't get a hit on Friday, but on Wednesday last week he went 2 for 5, and on Thursday of last week he went 2 for 3. So he's got 6 hits in his last 5 games, 2 home runs in that period. On the season he's at .259 average, 9 homers and 27 RBIs. And if you need an outfield player, he appears to be getting everyday looks. And he's only owned in ESPN leagues and by 1.3% of all eligible teams. So Yastrzemski has been hot. There have been other players for the Giants. Brandon Belt, since moving into the leadoff spot, he's performed like a champ. Now, he didn't start yesterday, but he's had hits prior to that in 4 straight games. And over those 4 games, 7 hits in 4 games. His average doesn't look good, but when you consider within the 210s a few weeks ago, now he's at 243, and leading off seems to suit him really, really well. It's been timely hitting. Lenny mentioned one of their players this morning on his show, and I would just give pause and talk about Dickerson, who is 33 for 92 on the year. That's a 348 average, 5 homers, 23 RBIs. The last 3 games, he's only started 1, but the one he started, he hit a home run. I'm just saying, these are some of the reasons why the Giants have suddenly turned it on. I want to give you some highlights from the weekend. Working for the 3rd straight game against a playoff contending team, Liam Hendriks suffered his first blown save since June 12th and 2nd of the season. He gave up 3 hits yesterday, 2 earned runs. That ended his 20 and 2/3 innings scoreless streak. Some believe, maybe you want to, that Blake Trinan could work his way back into the closer equation. But I think it's more of a blip on Hendricks' screen. I look for him to continue to be the closer. Carlos Martinez gave up runs yesterday also, but he did record his 8th save and he worked for the 6th time over his last 9 days. He struck out 1 and walked 1. Giovanni Gallegos for St. Louis got his 2nd win, firing an inning and 2/3 of clean innings with 4 strikeouts. Adam Kolarek got his first save for the Rays yesterday. He pitched a clean 9th. Emilio Pagan did the dirty work, if you want to call it that, for his 7th hold. He struck out the numbers 2, 3, and 4 batters in the 8th inning. Shane Green, trade deadline looming. What did he do yesterday? He blew a save. It was his 3rd. He allowed a hit, 2 runs, a walk, but he did have 3 strikeouts. And who's in the market for Shane Green? And I'm concerned. I'd rather pay a little more and go get the closer for Pittsburgh than the closer for Detroit. In fact, I'd rather have Alex Colomé than Shane Green. Just saying. Did you guys respond to my prospect question? I'm trying to go back and look in the chat room. Somebody said Josh Phelan could be a first-round ballot Hall of Fame. If he could just play on Sundays, he certainly could be, I think. But it doesn't quite work that way. I was trying to ask you guys about these prospects, and I'm not getting a lot of feedback that I can see. And if I'm mistaken, then please accept my apology. Doug Boyle did say he worries about space for Lux and Tucker and doesn't see the reason before September for Robert and Tucker, so he's going with Diaz. Do you think that Diaz has any roadblocks if Castro remains in Miami, or do you think they call up Diaz anyway? DK Luce ranked them this way: Bo Bichette, Robert, Lux, Diaz, and Tucker. He ranked Tucker last and Robert second. Cam writes Robert. Okay, so here's what I want to know. You guys may know something here, so help me out. Have you read something, or is it just your gut, Cam and DK Luce, that Robert may get called up soon? Robert, to me, has the most upside of any of these guys. My concern is, I look at past events. Last year, the White Sox did not call up Eloy Jimenez. They let the time run. Then they signed him, remember, in the preseason to this contract. So now time was no longer a consideration. And I'm wondering, considering, thinking, pondering, whatever word you want to use, will history repeat with the White Sox and Luis Robert? Bichette, he's only blocked by Freddie Galvis, but Freddie Galvis has been a hitting machine. And will it take a trade of Freddie Galvis before the deadline to get Bichette up? Lux could play second base, but the Dodgers are so deep and rich. But I did hear an interview with their manager, Dave Roberts, and he said that Lux wasn't far away. And I listen to what these managers say. Diaz is killing it in New Orleans, and Miami's loving him. And what about the enigma known as Kyle Tucker? Oh, my gosh. I want to go back to DK Luce. DK, I think I agree with you on Tucker being last And the